Welcome folks, I'm Jaby, Koay, joined by ACHARA, KIRK.
Hey guys.
We're going to talk about Mission Impossible Fallout. We're gonna keep this very generic because so much of this film has been promoted. There's like major sequences in the film that have been talked about at length publicly, like from the filmmakers, from Tom Cruise, like they're all talking about it so much. It's almost like when you're watching it, it's almost as if you were part of the making process because you know so much going into it. It doesn't ruin the movie, but because there's so much information already out there, I don't wanna give away any story information at all. What I wanna say though, a couple things. Firstly, 4DX is the one sponsoring this video. They got us into a screening of Mission Impossible Fallout in 4DX and 3D. Yes. The experience of watching Mission Impossible in 4DX is very intense. Like, it feels like you're on a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
And I would very much recommend it. The 3D, I think I would give it like a 3 out of 5 in terms of the 3D. There were moments where it was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was part of this adventure even more because of the 3D, but then there were other times where I found the 3D kind of distracting. It created weird proportions. It just felt different.
I just feel like they didn't really take advantage of the 3D except for in certain scenes. And when they did, it was really good, and otherwise it was just,
right.
you know.
I think they mostly had a good balance, but like there was some moments where like Henry Cavill was walking onto an airplane, for instance, right? Because of the 3D, it made him look smaller than he is.
Oh,
whereas
okay.
if it was 2D, he'd look bigger. There were certain moments that it just felt weird. There were other moments though where it felt like you were really part of the world, like I said. But the 4DX is something I can definitely recommend. As you can see from the trailer, it is a monumental action film. Mission Impossible Fallout is probably one of the best action films I've ever seen. I put it up there next to Mad Max. I don't know which one I like more yet. I have to watch it again, and I am gonna watch it again for sure. Like, it definitely has rewatchability. It's one of the best action movies. It's wall to wall to wall action sequences almost, but it doesn't lose you. Somehow it still maintains.
Yeah, it's really engaging still.
Somehow even through having all those action scenes, it doesn't lose you character-wise, emotionally. Like somehow I was still invested in all these people. Now that might be because of just the legacy of films since Mission Impossible 3. That's like the start of the story, the legacy of these stories. And then it's continuing here. I don't know if that's what it is. Somehow I just stayed invested in everything happening.
Well, there was definitely a sense of family, right? Because as you said, we've known this group of characters since 3 and then 4, right? Because that's when Simon Pegg comes in the picture. And we love them all. So as we're going through and having these crazy action sequences, at the root of it all, it's all about saving the world and saving your friends at the same time.
Right. I was very impressed with how well done the fight scenes were.
Well, like since we're talking about the fight scenes, that fight scene in the bathroom that you see in the trailer, like, oh my god, that was just epic. Some of the moves they were doing.
I was like, I don't think I've ever seen those.
I don't think I've ever seen those types of moves before. It was so cool watching it in the 4DX as well, because like
you could feel
the punches. You're like, oh god.
The 4DX really made you feel like you were part of that bathroom fight sequence. I was very much enjoying that. I think it enhanced everything because like you're seeing this amazing choreography, an amazing sequence taking place on screen, and then when these hits are happening, you're feeling the jolt, you're feeling like the tussling. It enhanced an already amazing fight sequence.
So well choreographed.
Yeah, the choreography was amazing, especially considering that it's an American fight scene. Usually that gets marred and messed at camera angles where you can't really make out the details. Obviously, you got Tom Cruise in there who wants to do his own stunts, so you can really see he's in there doing these fights, really doing the choreography and whatnot. I want to talk about some of the things you already know about that you'd see in the trailer. The helicopter sequence was just mind-blowing. You felt the helicopter sequence.
Oh boy, did I feel the helicopter sequence.
It was like a roller coaster. You gotta see it with a crowd because you're all feeling this experience together. Like if you go with friends, it's like, it's a ride, man.
I remember when that happened and I turned to look at you and you were giggling.
Oh yeah.
Like you were just having so much fun.
Well, what made me clap was the halo jump.
Yeah,
like the halo jump was amazing.
Wow.
Like, it's like you see it in the trailer and you're like, you get a sense of it, but the way it's executed in the film, you're like, how are they doing this? How is this possible? And oh my god, I feel like I'm there.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that was my favorite scene in the whole movie, just in terms of coolness factor.
Yeah.
Because like you really did feel like you were there, and they did a really great job with the 3D in the aerial stuff.
Yeah.
It gave that kind of perspective, plus the seat moving around and like the flashes of lightning and stuff with the strobe lights in the theater, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, the way that was shot was very intelligent also because easily it could have been, again, marred in like some messed up camera angle thing, but like they were very careful about balancing between giving you the sense of being in the air and it's shaking, but not too much so that you can still enjoy what's happening on screen. Aerial staging, as opposed to camera doing stuff. It was like a lot of choreography was actually happening in the air, and it was brilliant. I haven't seen anything that cool since Passenger 57 with Wesley Snipes. Yeah, so that dates me a little bit. But anyway, it was a great aerial sequence.
The stakes throughout the entire movie were incredibly high.
Yeah, you never forget them. You are constantly aware of the stakes involved, and the film is very, very smart where for seconds it'll make you feel like, what's going on? And then it'll catch you up again. So you never have to worry if like the jargon goes over your head for a second.
Nothing goes over my head.
Because a lot of information is thrown at you very early in the movie, and then again in the middle of the movie you're like, wait, what? But then, the movie happens and you're like, okay, I get it now. Yeah, we're good. Just trust the movie. It's one of those things, just trust the film as it goes.
Trust it, yeah.
I cannot believe how good this movie is. It's one of those things where you can really feel the passion and the care, the love put into this project. This is what we need more of, and we don't get enough. But what helps it a lot, of course, is Tom Cruise's willingness to put his own life on the line in order to get these amazing shots. Because, like, he's not messing around. Like, you see him do these things and you're like, how is this possible? How is this man still walking?
You were saying, we all know about some of the issues that happened during the filming of this movie, namely Tom Cruise hurting his ankle during one of the stunts. And when you see that moment in the film, like, all the audience.
Well, exactly. I mean, when he did that moment, everyone knows that moment where he messed up his ankle. Like, everybody knows about that. It was like this whole thing on the internet. The entire theater was like, ooh. Everybody cringed at the same time because everybody knew what that moment was.
Yeah.
And then the movie goes on, and he's,
he's running along.
He's running along.
What a trooper.
Tom Cruise is doing what Tom Cruise does best, which is running.
Yes.
So
much running.
There's a lot of running in the movie.
We haven't talked about the camera angles. I thought they were so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, definitely.
There were so many creative shots in this that I was like, wow, I don't know if I've really seen too many of shots like that in other movies before.
Well, I mean, other action movies anyway.
Yeah.
Like, the cinematography was taken with careful consideration here because normally, like I said, it's just like shaky cam stuff, whereas here, it felt crafted.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to label this, is it's a very well-crafted film in every aspect, even down to the music. I guess the last thing we'll talk about is the acting, which normally would come first, I guess. The acting was great all around, but there's one person in particular who I'm not sure about, and hopefully I'm not alone in this thought. Well, hopefully I am, actually. I hope I am alone, but when we were talking, not just you and me, but a friend that we brought we all kind of felt that Henry Cavill's acting was like the one that was the weakest in the film.
He definitely had some strong moments where, he was doing his character justice, but other times it was kind of like, I don't know what you're doing, Henry Cavill. Tom
Cruise like no other. Simon Pegg was funny as usual.
Yes.
I think Simon Pegg could have used a little bit more Simon Pegg this time around. It depends on the film. Like, sometimes he's too much.
Yeah.
But like here I wanted more of that, of the Simon Pegg humor.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Especially what we got in like Mission Impossible, the other two. Like, in the other two, he was great.
With Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, Ghost Protocol I think was my favorite though, because like after Tom Cruise does the climbing sequence and then Simon Pegg comes in and goes, wow, that was hard. He's talking about something completely like mundane in comparison. There were some moments, but they were a little bit contrived, and they had to do with an iPad. You guys will know what I'm talking about when you see it. It's just like, okay, well, I guess that was funny. Him and Ving Rhames played off each other, and it was cute. Ving Rhames actually, he had a great moment in the movie. I was like, oh wow, like, okay, cool. Like, I felt, for him. We also have Sean Harris, who was even more enjoyable this time around.
Yes.
Like, I liked him all right in the previous Mission Impossible. Here, I really liked what he brought to the table. I liked what the film gave him. They gave Sean Harris, or Solomon Lane, a much meatier role here than in the previous installment where he was just kind of a bad guy. He's just a bad guy. Here, he's got depth. Alec Baldwin is, of course, in this.
Oh my God, he was brilliant.
It almost felt like I was watching 30 Rock for a few seconds.
Yes.
There. Alec Baldwin brought a little bit too much Alec Baldwin into it, but I like that. That is a negative, but I liked it. Like, I appreciate Alec Baldwin bringing in Alec Baldwin. because he's got a great sense of humor.
Exactly, and you need that sometimes because the movie is so intense. It's really nice to have those little comic relief moments where you're like, oh, God, I can breathe again. Oh no, wait, we're going back into the action.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, we're going back into the action.
Yeah.
Just to finish up my thoughts on Henry Cavill, I think that he's a good actor. There were just some moments his delivery didn't sell for me. There were other moments where I was like, okay, that worked. But the fact that I had to question it at all when everybody else is so strong in the movie, it was just a little bit disappointing. Otherwise, the film is really solid. There are moments in the plot that I question a tad bit, but it's Mission Impossible. It gets a little bit more free reign, but even within that, it's doing a really good job of having a solid story. Overall, I love this movie. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Stardust.
Yep, me too. And if you do have the opportunity to check it out in 4DX,
yes, please.
Definitely recommend.
I would strongly recommend that. It's definitely an experience.
Especially for this movie.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of to compare it to is like there's a Transformers ride at Universal Studios, if you've ever done that.
My fave.
That's probably my favorite ride at Universal Studios. That's what 4DX feels like, but even more. Water effects, there's smoke effects, there's like there's smells, there's all kinds of stuff that really brings you into the world of the movie. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think. Check out ACHARA KIRK on the social media. Subscribe if you have not already. Check out our other reactions, reviews, and short films. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.